Well, hey.
Howdy.
How's it going? Thanks for joining us for these live stream reviews. We'll be diving into live streams from all over the place. We got Carolina on the list, North Carolina, Texas, Wyoming, Zambia. You ever been to Zambia?
Don't even know where that is.
South Africa. Man, this is going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Before we get into this first review, though, I want to tell you about a special offer we have going on just to make sure that you don't miss it, because this thing expires on Sunday. We're just 2 days away from this wrapping up. But we are giving you all access for life is what we're calling it. So you get access to all of our courses, all of our cheat sheets, not just the ones that exist right now, but even the ones that are coming in the future. You don't have to pay anything for those when they come out. We're just going to give them to you as part of all access.
That's a dang good deal.
For life. This is $495, one-time fee. But you're getting $1,610 worth of stuff for that $495.
Well, actually more than that if you consider future courses.
I know.
What are we thinking?
Just kind of hard to calculate that, I guess. You also get access for up to 5 team members, so this isn't just for you, but it's for you and your team. They get access to all this as well. We're going to throw in a bonus of 1 year of individualized support. That gets you access to our private support chat and Slack, also one-on-one coaching calls and live stream reviews. In the course platform, you'll be able to see your team's progress. You'll send assignments. You can write private notes. We developed a platform. This is custom to Collaborate Worship. Nobody else uses this course platform. It's ours, and we created it specifically so that you could run your team really smoothly, and it's awesome. So all this deal expires January 28th, this Sunday, at 5 p.m. Central Time. You can also break that up into 4 payments, $145, if that's what you need to do. But a link is in the description. Want to let you know so you don't miss out on that. But let's get into these live stream reviews. Are you ready, Dylan?
I'm ready.
All right, this first one is from Dan Moody. This is Venture Church out of North Carolina. I'm going to pull it up here, and we will listen in, see what we have going on. Going fast forward a little bit.
Say the name above all names, over every broken place. He is risen from the grave.
Okay, now first thing I noticed is I got the volume maxed out over here on my end, which means we need some more volume for your live stream. I imagine that people are having a hard time getting enough from their phones. And I did check that, Dylan. My volume's all the way up. I assume we're good over there too. So just keep that in mind. One way that you can fix that is you can squeeze more volume out of your live stream by adding a limiter to the overall live stream mix. Add a limiter, and then you can increase that overall volume to get it where it needs to be. Usually a limiter is all you need to do, but if you still can't get it from there, there may be some other steps you need to take, which we can go through those whenever they come up.
Look at this nice lower third scene I got going on here.
Why is it upside down?
It's like that from another live stream. Let me fix it real quick. I thought that was funny. You can go ahead and turn it up.
To the King, he is worthy to receive all the worship we can bring. Sing hallelujah to the King. He is worthy to receive all the worship we can bring.
Overall, really great mix though, man. It sounds really full and energetic. Great job.
What he's done.
Here's some sucking going on.
A little bit. That tells us there's a limiter already there. So maybe that limiter is too aggressive. So I'm curious why the volume's not really loud enough. Of course, you want to make sure you're using compression on your individual channels as well, because that helps control the dynamics and let you squeeze more volume out of the overall live stream mix. Now I'm just going to give you a few tips of things that can take your stream to the next level. This is me being a little bit nitpicky because you submitted your stream to take it to the next level. So one thing that I noticed is the guitar is panned really far over to the right. A little bit too hard of a pan. I'd bring him back towards center just a little bit. I would add some more reverb to the vocals to give them some more space in the mix because they're sounding really kind of direct and dry. But you did a great job EQing the vocals. They sound really clean. I love how you have your low cut filter set and all that. That's perfect. So just add some more reverb. Take those vocals to the next level. Let me back up a little bit.
Oh, hallelujah.
Could add some more reverb to that snare drum too. Other than that, I think it sounds really good. What do you think, Dylan?
I like it.
Yeah, very good. Great job. Thank you for sending that in. Make those few simple adjustments. It'll take you to the next level. Of course, I want to say hello to everybody who's tuning in. Got Emmanuel. He's with us a lot. Thanks for being a faithful viewer.
Emmanuel with us.
Emmanuel with us. We got someone here from Ghana, Chattanooga, Virginia, Don from Woodside Church. Man, it's great to have you all. Hey, I forgot to mention in the beginning, if you have some tips for these streams as well, go ahead and drop those in the comments. Just be constructive in your criticism. Don't be critical, but be helpful, right? Because we're all on the road to being better.
I was just going to give you, we're mostly going through audio recommendations today. But I'm going to try to give some visual tips if I see anything to give. And I just noticed your horizons were a little unlevel on most of your shots there, so I would just check that, making sure your horizon's straight instead of slanted one way or the other.
Sweet. Well, this next one is from Brett Patterson. He's from Grace Baptist Church in Arlington, Texas. He's just looking for balance and clarity across the board. Let's listen in.
There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. We shout out your praise.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sending this in. I can hear the lead vocal loud and clear. That's a plus. I mean, I always tell people if you get the lead vocal right, hardly anybody will notice anything else that's wrong if they're not musical. So great job on that. But you said you were looking for balance and clarity in your mix, and I can see what you're talking about. We need some more balance between the instruments and the vocals because like your lead vocal is here. I don't even know if that was on camera. Your lead vocal is here, and then everything else is kind of buried underneath. So first thing that I want more of is the drums.
We were the beggars.
I can hear the cymbals a little bit and really nothing else.
We were the prisoners.
The prominent parts of a drum mix are going to be your kick drum and your snare drum. So you need to kind of bring those up to kind of match the level of your lead vocal there, or kind of like right underneath there. And I see you have an electronic kit, which doesn't give you a whole lot of control back at the board. You probably have one fader that controls the whole drum mix. But the cool thing is on the drum mix unit, you can control the volume between each of those drums. So I would spend some time with your drummer there in the room during a rehearsal or something like that and really fine tune like how loud the snare is versus the kick. I can already tell that the cymbals are going to need to turn down compared to everything else in that drum mix. So I'd spend some time on that because having the drums right in your mix is where all the energy comes from.
We shout out your praise.
I like how you have the background vocals mixed. You can hear them, but they're in the background. So great job on that.
House of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house.
I'm trying to figure out what this lady back there on the left, does she have an instrument? Can you tell, Dylan? She's kind of behind a table, but I see her hand moving. It's like, is she just singing or is she playing something? Maybe a guitar?
Can't see. Yeah, I think a compression would improve this mix on its own quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll go through each channel, and here's just kind of like a simplified approach to compression for you. Activate a compressor on all of your channels, set the ratio to 3. And then you can set attack, hold, and release to auto. And then set your threshold to where the gain reduction meter, this is on the compressor settings screen, there's a little meter on there, it's called a gain reduction meter. Set your threshold so that it is compressing down about -6 dB. And that's kind of like a basic approach to compression. You can get way more detailed and involved in that, but that's just going to be a great starting point for you. And what that's going to do is create consistency within your mix so that it's not jumping up and down as far as volume is concerned. It gives you some control over the dynamics. Any other thoughts, Dylan?
Visually, I was just going to say I'd recommend taking your lyrics down from 6 lines or however many that was down to 2. For one, they were a little small there in the middle of the screen. I couldn't even really read them. But 2 lines is going to look a lot cleaner and make them a lot easier to read. Obviously, that's going to require more slide switching, but if you've got a person doing that already, it's not really that big of a deal. They're just going to have to be a little more on top of it, but that's going to improve some things. And I noticed if you look at our guitarist there in the back, he's kind of purple. And then if you look at our lady here in the front that's speaking right now, her skin has a little bit of a green tint to it. And I'm imagining that's because your stage front lighting is RGB that you're mixing to look white. If I had to guess, that's probably where that magenta tone on his skin is coming from. And if you're able to afford it, I would highly recommend, even if you have to get some cheap ones, to get some lights that are just one color, not RGB. They're just like a tone of white, either warm white, cool white, daylight, whatever. Obviously, you're probably going to want, let's see, are those fluorescent lights back there? Fluorescent lights are usually daylight colored, aren't they?
They usually have a green hue to them. I know that.
Yeah, so I would just get whatever color temperature is closest to your house lighting, which looks fluorescent. So if it's closer to daylight,
Yeah, I think they're usually about 4,000 Kelvin.
you might be able to look at the bulbs on them, and they'll probably tell you what Kelvin they are too. So I would get some stage lighting that matches that, and that's going to improve the skin tones on your people on the stage there quite a bit because they're looking pretty purple. There's nothing much you can do about that when there's such a big difference between your house lighting, which looks kind of green, and then them. So that would be a good upgrade for you guys to make when you can. I'm sure you can get lights that are pretty affordable, probably like around $100 a piece. You probably wouldn't need a ton of them. I'm surprised there's no feedback with the speakers being behind the mics like that. Did you notice that?
Yeah. That'd make it tough.
If you guys can, you probably want to bring those forward to where they're in front of everybody on the stage. I wonder if they have any problems with that ever. Are those subs that are flown there behind them?
No. Probably it looks like they're using them for monitors.
Oh, okay. I guess if you don't have any feedback problems, then whatever, but seems like you would.
Brett said that she's playing bass back there.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, I thought she had a guitar. In that case, I couldn't really hear the bass guitar, so I'd bring that up quite a bit in the mix. So as far as your mix is concerned, focus on the drums, snare drum, kick drum specifically, and then bring that bass guitar up, add some compression. You'd be next level, man. Thanks for sending that in.
Next level.
Next level. And you just couldn't help yourself, Dylan, on commenting on visuals, huh?
I know.
We're supposed to stay sound focused in this, Dylan.
I'll just shut up.
I'm just messing with you. All right, this next one is from David, and he's from COGOP Church. You know, that reminds me of Dylan and I both went to Rhema Bible School, and everything was an acronym there. Remember that?
Yeah, because they got so many words for everything.
Yeah. It's funny. He's from Czech Republic, the Czech Republic. They have an X32 sound console, but it's a little complicated for him. I get that, especially if you're new to it. It can be really complicated. We don't know how to properly set up the output for the live stream. For example, we use the same EQ for the live stream as well as the room. All right, we can talk about that. Let's take a listen here, and we'll go from there.
Full screen that for us, please.
I'm going to back up a little bit.
Got some digital noise on our end because we're having to boost it.
Pane, my jsme v tobě šťastní, jenom v tobě a my chceme vyzdávat díky a chválu a chceme zpívat, že ty jsi dobrý, že ty jsi mocný král, že ty jsi naše radost, že ty jsi náš pokoj, že ty jsi všechno, co potřebujeme v našem životě a my chceme vyvýšit nás, že my máme vztah s živým Bohem. Člověka, co jste tady, abyste znovu přijeli.
Where the whole band is in here. There we go. All right, so the first thing that I'm noticing in this mix is, first of all, I love that I can hear the drums. They're there in the mix, which is great. But I can tell that there's a different reverb used on the drums than anything else, so they sound like they're in a different place Like they don't really sound like they're a part of the band. And this is one of the biggest challenges of using an electronic drum kit as well, is to make it actually sound like it's a part of the band. I would just, if you're using like a room reverb, which I would guess that's what that is, which I use on my drums too, I would just back that off a bit. Generally, I'd only put that on the snare and the toms instead of the whole kit. But just use a little bit less reverb on the drums, and I think you'll solve that issue. Okay, so you mentioned that you're using the same EQ on the live stream as you are the room. What I would do there is just eliminate that EQ that you have on the overall live stream bus. You don't need to, so you apply EQ to the room to account for weird things that happen in a room. When it comes to a live stream, you don't have those weird things happen because people are either wearing headphones or they're listening to it on their phone or something like that. So a flat EQ would serve you better on the live stream bus than trying to replicate what you're using on the room EQ. So that's step number one. I think that's going to solve some of your issues here, because what I'm hearing on the vocals is they don't have a lot of depth to them, which makes them sound kind of harsh. We need to get some of the warmth back into a vocal, and that could just be being stripped away based on the EQ that's on the overall live stream bus. So start there, level that out. You don't need that there. And then on top of that, I would take a look at your vocal EQ. Check your low cut filter. It should be somewhere around 180 hertz. If you go up higher than that, sometimes you need to. But if you get too aggressive, all the vocals lose their warmth, and you don't want that, because then it just sounds harsh. Yeah, let me take another listen here. We need some more bass guitar in there as well. So I'm just going to leave you with that. Fix the drums. Try to make them blend in with the mix better by adjusting that reverb. Increase the bass guitar. Remove that EQ that's on the live stream bus, and see if that brings the warmth back to your vocals.
I was going to say I'd like to hear a little less acoustic guitar and a little more of the electric in the, I'm guessing that's a violin, an electric violin.
Looks like it.
It's pretty acoustic guitar heavy.
Agreed.
It doesn't sound bad though, the acoustic.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good player too.
Yep.
Anywho.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in. Take that to the next level.
It's not too much commenting going on today. You guys are quiet.
They're being quiet down there. All right, this next one is from Kim Welch from Grace Fellowship of Cole Camp in Missouri. They're a small church with only the pastor singing, sometimes with a guitar and a piano player, one tower speaker. All righty. Pulling it up right here on the good old Facebook.
All is at rest. I and my Savior am happy and blessed, watching and waiting, looking above.
Awesome. We're getting too much ambient noise. So I don't know if you have a room mic in this mix. If you do, bring that down so that we get more of the direct sound. Or if you're using a reverb, dial that back a little bit.
My story, this is my song.
If you don't have a room mic picking up like audience noise, you may just have an open mic somewhere that's picking up all this ambience. And so if there's a mic sitting off the stage or whatever, and you have it unmuted when it's not being used, make sure you mute that.
This is my song.
And I just heard some distortion on that vocal. Kind of hard to determine where that's coming from without being there, but what you're going to look for on your mixer is anything that's hitting red. Could be his mic. If his meter is hitting red, then you need to make a gain adjustment on his mic specifically so that he's not going into the red. It could be the overall live stream mix that's going into the red. If that's the case, bring the live stream mix down. You don't want to be hitting red on those level meters anywhere, so make an adjustment where you need to.
This is my story.
You're working with two great musicians, though. He's a great vocalist. She's a great piano player. So those small adjustments, we're going to take this one to the next level. Any thoughts, Dylan?
I don't think so.
All righty. We'll carry on to the next one. Somebody has a quick question. Do you get copyright strikes when you live stream? I realize it doesn't get affected compared to posting. Okay, so here's how that works. As long as you're live streaming on Facebook or YouTube, they have their own copyright issues sorted out. So what happens is whoever owns the copyrights to the songs that you're streaming, they get to earn the ad revenue off of the video that you posted. And you don't get to choose whether there's ads on that video or not. Ads are going to be put on that video, and that person is going to earn the ad revenue is how that works. So as long as you're using YouTube or Facebook, you don't have to worry about it. If you're using Vimeo or something like that doesn't automatically do stuff like that, you could run into some copyright issues. But as a church, you just want to make sure that you have your CCLI licenses. CCLI.com. I'm not going to get into the weeds of that. You can just go there and do research yourself. They have several different licenses that you can buy just to make sure that you don't get into any copyright issues with showing lyrics and streaming and all that good stuff. Dylan loves when he gets to submit his CCLI reporting.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that your favorite thing to do as a worship leader?
Favorite.
All right, this next one is from Rachel. This is from Black Hills Cowboy Church in Wyoming. And she says, online sound, bleh. Yeah, that's funny. All right, let me see. Let's find a video here. Sunday service. I assume that's the one we want to look at. Full screen.
So we sing praise to the Father, gave us the Son. Praise to
Look at that upright bass. Who has one of those in a church?
It's pretty sweet.
When I was a sinner, He saved me from who I was. So we sing praise to the Father, gave us the Son.
The bass and the piano sound good. The only problem here is the lead vocal is sounding a little crispy. Sounds like you're boosting those high frequencies a little too aggressively. I'd bring that down on the EQ. Maybe you might be a little too aggressive on your low cut filter too, because she doesn't have a whole lot of depth to her. So I'd back that off. If you're cutting out in that mid-low range, bring that back up. Add that back into the mix because she sounds very thin and crispy. We need her to sound a little more full.
Amen. My soul. So we sing praise to the Father, gave us the Son.
And then everything just needs a little bit of reverb, and I think they're good. So when it comes to reverb, I like to use two different kinds of reverb. I like to have a plate reverb on my vocals as the primary reverb for vocals, and then I like to have a hall reverb for my instruments. And I'll also add a little bit of that on the vocals as well to help everything blend together. I have a video that walks you through my whole reverb strategy. So after this, if you go search our YouTube channel for reverb, you will find that video.
I like the space heater up there. We probably could have used a couple of those a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no kidding.
We had a 0-degree day here in Oklahoma, and our church building was like 50 degrees or something.
Yeah, I couldn't keep up.
It's a little too cold.
That was cold, especially we're kind of southern, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody has the right like winter gear around here to handle those kind of temps, so we just stay inside.
Us Southern Americans, so spoiled.
You know, Rachel, thanks for sending that in. Make those few adjustments. You're going to be surprised at how much better it sounds. All right, John is this next one. He's from Zambia. He's just looking for a consistent mix each Sunday. Let's pull it up here.
Said they were negative 34 2 weeks ago at their church.
I guess we have nothing to complain about.
Gee whiz, where was that at? Up north, I'm assuming.
I'm pretty sure Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we all would have died in Oklahoma if that would have happened to us.
Everything shuts down when it's like in the single digits here.
We wouldn't be here today. We had a negative 34 day. All right, here we go.
If you believe it, say I am more. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than a conqueror. Oh, I'm more than a conqueror. Somebody bless Jesus. this place. If you believe you're more than a conqueror, I want to see you dance as we bring it back home. Manamayo Tumputu. Atita kwama walingana na Yesu. Kwama walingana na kwe. Ota kwama walingana na Yesu. Kwama walingana na kwe. Ota kwama walingana na Yesu. Kwama walingana na kwe.
You know, one of my favorite things about doing live stream reviews is we get cultured. You realize how many different styles and things that are out there going on in churches, and I just love that. That blesses me. It kind of makes me wonder what heaven's going to be like. It's going to be a mixture of songs that we sing together. That's awesome. I love the clarity of your mix. It's spot on. But what I notice is there's kind of like this whole frequency section that's missing, and I'd call it like the warm frequencies, those low mids. And I know that's kind of like the part that we're always working on cutting and carving out. I think you just may have got a little too aggressive in that. One thing that I was noticing is that the keyboard sounds very thin, and keyboard is a great instrument to use to fill in those low mids. So I would take a look at that keyboard EQ and bring in those low mids. Maybe if you have a low cut filter on there, back it back. Probably to about 80 hertz or so would probably be a good place for that. And use that keyboard to fill in and add some warmth back to the mix. You can also do the same thing with the electric guitar. Let me listen again. We could probably adjust the balance between vocals and instruments. They're a little too far separated right now, so bring those closer together so they're more blended together. I also don't really hear any reverb on the vocals, and so I would add some reverb to the vocals. You can use the same thing that I talked about in the previous stream. Plate reverb combined with a hall reverb makes for great things. Again, I have a detailed video on that. If you search our YouTube channel for reverb, you will find that video, and it'll walk you through how to do that. I want to also give a quick tip. If you're using reverb in the room, you can apply that same reverb to the live stream mix. There's no reason to have two separate things, and you actually can't unless you're using two different mixers. But how you add that reverb into the live stream bus is if you're using the X32, you find the effects returns on the X32, select your live stream bus, hit sends on fader, and then turn up your effects returns. And that will add the reverb into your live stream mix. And however far you turn up those effects returns will determine how much reverb is going to the live stream mix. We find ours to be set at about -5 dB, seems to be the right feel for our live stream, but it may be different for you. Could be a great starting point though.
Word.
Any other thoughts?
Nothing to add.
All right. Sweet. Got any other questions coming in?
About submitting their live stream.
Yeah. What's the best way for them to do that in case we have time at the end?
Let's see. What is the best way to do that? Could you email me?
Can you post a link in the comments?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see if
Post a link to that Google form. It'll pop in here for me. While he's doing that, this next live stream is from Johnny. Belfast City Vineyard Church in Belfast. Awesome. Bass guitar hiss and boom is a problem that they're having. Pulling it up now. We will take a listen. I'm going to just use your most recent Sunday live stream. Here we go. Fast forward a little bit. All right, so it's looking like you don't have a live or a bass guitar in this specific live stream, so I guess we don't get to talk about that issue. But here's the thing that I noticed is that you're running your live stream as a mono mix, and that's a no-no. You want a stereo mix for a live stream, and the reason is most people are going to have a left and a right speaker unless they're watching on their phone. Why would people watch on their phone? Anyway, left and right. That way you can pan and it adds some space to your mix and widens out your mix. So it takes a little bit of a configuration change to get your live stream from mono to stereo, but it'll be worth the effort. So what that is you're having 2 channels for your live stream instead of one, a left and a right versus center. All right, let me pull up one of their other live streams, see if we can find some like drums and bass guitar in one of the other ones. Let's see. Let's go to the 14th of January. Drums sound pretty good. Those toms need to be tuned, but that didn't have anything to do with you as the sound guy, but maybe encourage them to tune the drums. I'm not hearing the bass guitar, but I see him over there. Maybe you have him turned down because he's buzzing and hissing, which would make sense. So buzzing and hissing, that usually has to do with maybe you need a better direct box or maybe you need a better cable. If it's not one of those 2 issues, that's where I would start, by the way. Direct box and cable, replace those. Then it could be you're having a power interference issue. All of your audio equipment should be going through a power conditioner. You can pick up a power conditioner for a little over $100 US, and that will clean up any power issues that you have. A little bit of a hassle if you're not doing that already, but makes a big difference. I think we might have too much room mic in there compared to the direct sound. So more direct sound if that's the case. Yep. Turn that into a stereo mix. Less room mic, more direct sound. Fix that bass guitar so you can bring them up in the mix. You'll be on your way to the next level. What do you think, Dylan?
I was going to say there's some really cool accents going on in that room.
Yeah, for sure.
That tile on the back wall and the wood on the front of the stage.
That's very nice.
Very
I like
nice.
the yellow. Bringing some color in.
Someone said they're not getting any sound.
So Dylan posted that link if you want to submit for your live stream review. If we can get to it, we'll get to it. I think is anybody else having sound issues? We just tested on our end. It's working fine.
Yeah, might just check your volume and everything.
All right, next up, this is from a name that I cannot pronounce. Dylan, give us a shot.
Yeah, you got me.
In Zulu, we're going to call you that. Thanks for sending this in, man. This is from Global Reconciliation Church in South Africa. He says, the online mix needs a lot of work. Oh my goodness, they are live right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see what we got going on. Lots of distortion going on, my friend. That's just something's peeking out, and I can tell it's the overall live stream mix because I barely have this volume turned up at all on my end, and we're getting plenty of volume. So back that down. Back down your live stream volume overall.
Father, we thank you.
I'm going to go back here to the worship segment.
There's something not good going on with the acoustic guitar.
The acoustic guitar sounds really strange. You're only getting like the very, 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 very upper end of the frequency spectrum out of that thing. So maybe he needs a new battery or something.
Or the EQ on his guitar itself might be kind of wacky.
Yeah. So there is an EQ adjustment on acoustic guitars themselves. I always have my acoustic guitars just set all that right in the middle. right in the little notch. That way I know it's always going to be the same whenever they plug it into the mixer. I recommend that just because it's the easiest way to make sure you get the same sound each time they plug in. Take a look at that. See if you can make the acoustic guitar not sound so crispy. In the meantime, I just bring that down. Vocals sound good. Very good job EQing the vocals. I would prefer to hear a little more reverb on the vocals. I think overall you got a great mix. So we heard that distortion earlier. Fix that problem. Fix your acoustic guitar. Man, you're going to be good to go. Great job. Any other thoughts, Dylan?
Nope.
Cool that we actually got to tune in live. We're live while they're live. Showing a live video of a live video. All right, this next one's from Garrett Foster. Heritage Pentecostal Church in Colorado Springs. You know, I love Colorado Springs. Dylan and I are both Colorado lovers. We try to get out there once a year, although COVID kind of messed that up. But we love to go hiking. And we've been in the Colorado Springs area many times. We've been to Estes Park, which is one of the coolest places to go hike. And I just can't imagine what it'd be like to live in Colorado. I probably wouldn't like it in the wintertime. I always go in the summer.
Yeah, I'd just like to have a summer house there. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
We were there, how many months ago was that? For the church front conference. We didn't even get to go hike. We went there, went to the conference, came right back.
Yeah.
Lame.
I know. What's our problem? All right, so it looks you just sent me an MP3 file, which is okay. We'll take a listen.
You should get to stare at us while we listen, I guess.
Yeah.
Joseph of the house of King David, saying, "You have found favor. The Lord is with thee. Blessed among women, for you have been chosen to carry in you the one who make all things new. Joseph, don't fear, for the bride you hold dear is carrying the Christ, and you chosen take. Born of a virgin, wrapped in swaddling clothes.
I like they have some great musicians.
Yeah, no kidding. Really good vocals.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent on that stage.
Yep. Your reverb game is on point. Great job mixing reverb. The instruments sound great too. Love how the bass guitar sounds. I think overall the balance is good. The only thing that I'm struggling with is the vocals sound a little bit harsh to me.
There's a little tinniness going on to the overall sound to me.
Yeah, it needs some more warmth to it.
Yeah.
I can hear warmth out of the instruments. I think it's just missing from the vocals. Maybe being a little too aggressive with your low cut filter, or if you're just cutting, if you have an EQ filter somewhere between 200 hertz and 600 hertz, I would just go through your vocals and look. And you may just be being too aggressive with that. I find myself cutting in that range to carving out the low mids of a vocal to get them clean. But at this point, you've carved a little too much of that low end energy out of the vocal. So you need to bring some back so there's more warmth in the mix. Other than that, man, it sounds good.
Play that a little bit again. Is there not a lead vocalist going on in this song at all?
It's kind of hard to tell who the lead vocal is. They probably have more of a choir setup.
It almost reminds me of the Sight and Sound Theater.
Yeah. I've not heard this song, so I don't know what the actual melody is, but I feel like I'm hearing the harmony more than I'm hearing the melody. So even if there's not like a lead singer, you need to know who the melody is so the melody is still more prominent than everything else that's in the mix. It's hard for a non-musician to follow along and sing along if they can't hear that melody being the most prominent part of the mix.
That was cool. It kind of like transported me to the Sight and Sound Theater a little bit.
Which I love.
Speaking of, if you've never been to Sight and Sound Theater in Branson, Missouri,
Well,
it's worth going to.
They have another one in another state. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
It's like the same thing, though?
Yeah, same exact thing.
You guys just went. What play did you see?
We went and saw Esther, which was, oh my gosh, incredible.
It's like one of the coolest things you can ever see, especially as a Christian. I mean, You just can't believe what's going on around you the whole time. It's just so much work put into it. It's crazy.
Yep. All right. Next up, Cody from the AOA Church in Oklahoma.
Hey,
I think that's the church my sister-in-law goes to.
really?
Yeah. Small world.
Fellow Okies.
Yeah, fellow Okies. All right, let's pull it. Yeah, that is, if it's in Sapulpa, that's the church my sister-in-law goes to. I love that. All right, let's pull her up here.
Well, you go ahead and get started, but I'll go use the bathroom real quick.
Dylan's got to take a break. I'm looking here, the AOA Church live rebroadcast. We'll look at that one. Pulling it up here. Let's get into the worship.
Let us now lift our souls to another. Oh God, let us be a generation that seeks your face, oh God of Jacob. Oh God, let us be a generation that seeks your face, oh God of Jacob.
All right, you have a good start here of a great mix. Let's see. Let me listen to that a little bit more. Trying to diagnose what we need to do to take it to the next level. Bass guitar is kind of dominating the mix here, so bring it down a little bit.
Here we go. We bow our hearts, we bend our knees. Oh Spirit, come make us humble.
But we need more kick drum and more snare as well, and then add some reverb to that snare. It'll really take your drum mix to the next level.
All things. Oh Lord, we cast down our idols to give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another.
I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Bring your bass guitar down. It's going to make the rest of the mix make sense because it's really dominating the mix. And then bring up your kick drum and your snare drum. Add some reverb to that snare. Then I think we're on our way.
I love how that drummer's vibing.
He's having a good time, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I love that.
Yep.
I was going to recommendation with your visuals real quick. Something I noticed. You have some really cool shots going on and they all look really good. I think I'd love to see you switch them more often. I think you're holding on to like one shot for a little longer than you have to, especially when you got so many cool ones to show off. Great job with the visuals, though. They look good.
Very nice. Moving along. Let's see what we have next. Let's see. This is from Ali from Iglesia Familiar Christiana Norte in Mexico. Sorry if I said all that wrong. I did my best. For some reason, my mix is too loud. How can I fix that? I mix in Logic Pro, and then what I hear in Facebook is completely different. Well, let's take a listen here.
Precioso Hijo de Dios, recibe toda la gloria, recibe toda la honra. Bendecirle y darle gracias. Recibe la gloria.
I'm going to guess what you meant was that the stream is not loud enough because I'm having to really boost it up to hear it.
If it sounds good in Logic Pro and then sounds bad on the stream, I imagine it's something going on in the streaming software.
Yep. Or like if you're going, well, let's see.
Something in the journey to get to the streaming software is probably like dropping the levels.
Yeah. So that's what you need to look at. Look at the end of your Logic Pro signal chain as well, like the main or whatever it is. See what's going on there. And then where does it go from there? Does it go into out of that computer and into another computer? Or are you streaming from the same computer? You need to follow the journey from Logic Pro to wherever it ends up because that could be where the problem is happening.
That's what I would say.
Also, make sure what you're sending out of Logic Pro is you're sending out a good solid mix. I mean, that mix should be crawling into that yellow part of the main. If it's not, then you're sending too weak of a signal out of Logic Pro into whatever's next. You need to increase that.
Oh, look, that bass guitar has green guitar strings.
Sweet. But yeah, other than that, really what I could hear is that the drum, like the toms, maybe be a little too loud in the mix, and that could be triggering some limiter problems. So I bring those toms down a little bit. But yeah, you just need to get your overall level fixed. So follow that journey from Logic Pro to wherever it goes and figure out where the issue is. I wish we could peer into your church and help you sort through that, because that can be annoying trying to find out where the problem is. But be diligent. You'll figure it out.
Still got those rolling in.
Yep. All right. Next up, Nate sent this from Divine Unity Community Church in Virginia. Any help for balancing EQ and presentation? Get more of an online presence. All right. Let's dive right in here.
Makes you worthy. God, you are always good. With or without my song, you're still holy. God, you are always good. If I had 10,000 tongues, I still couldn't say enough. You never needed my gifts to be worthy. So I get to say you're good. With my whole heart, sing hallelujah.
Vocals sound good.
Same thing here, though. I'm not sure who's the lead.
It's the one doing the fills, and she needs a little more depth to her. She's kind of having a hard time punching through as the lead vocal because she's really thinned out.
The background vocals are just a little high, too.
Yeah, they could come down a little bit.
They're like what you would expect the lead vocal to be in terms of level.
Yeah. So we're just talking about really level differences here. EQ a little bit different on the lead vocal, but all the other vocals are EQ'd perfectly. They sound good. We need more instruments, though. Especially bass guitar. Are you hearing bass guitar at all? Oh, there, I heard it a little bit. Bring that bass guitar up. I hear piano. There's plenty of toms in the mix, but I need more kick drum and snare. A lot more kick drum. Bring up that kick in that bass guitar.
Your goodness has been, your goodness will be, your goodness has never depended on me. Hallelujah in the highest.
Yep, I'd say the main thing missing in that mix is bass guitar and kick drum. When you have those right, the whole mix is going to make a lot more sense. But I'd also bring in some more of those instruments too to fill in the gaps. Any other thoughts?
Don't think so.
Sweet. Thank you so much for sending that in. And next up,
We did have a couple questions if you want to answer those.
yeah,
real
we
fast.
could do that.
Let's see where to start here. My mix sounds decent in room and on the live for the equipment that we're using, but for some reason on earphones my mixes aren't as good. It's just a mess. Anyone with any tips? I'm guessing you're just hearing more of the flaws with headphones. Would be my guess.
Yeah, or you could have a crappy pair of headphones.
That too.
Yeah.
Not sure.
If you didn't spend at least $100 on your headphones, you should probably get some new ones.
Probably so. What are
Yeah.
the ones you have? They're the
Sennheiser.
HD 280 Pro.
Yep. Those ones I use. My favorite, actually. But Dylan likes his better, which are the...
It's
what
the
brand is that?
Audio Technica. It's the M40Xs. A lot of people get the M50Xs, but actually the 40s are a more flat frequency response. The M50s have some frequency biases that are better for just like listening to music, a little more bass presence. So I use these to edit videos because they're just a more flat response, gives you less coloring to your sound. It's kind of like those.
Yep. But earphones are going to let you hear all of your flaws. Even so, if you're mixing in the room, mix to the room, not the headphones. That's a common mistake some people will make. They'll have their headphones on the whole time. but what matters the most is how it's translating to the room.
Someone was asking about getting sound from the X32 into Logic Pro so they can mix their live stream separately. That's pretty easy. You just send it from the USB card.
Yep.
It'll receive every individual channel. And he said he's afraid he's going to mess up the room mix. The only way that's going to happen is if you're sending it back to the mixer and you have it routed to where it's receiving that signal back from
the
Logic
USB.
Pro. Yeah, which would be like a virtual playback, which you wouldn't be doing during the service. So wouldn't be a problem to send it to Logic Pro.
Although
we recommend a bus mix live stream because it's easier.
it's easier and you can still get great results from it. And surprisingly, some of the biggest churches around are using that exact setup, just a post-fader bus mix. It hinges on a great room mix. So if you get your room mix right, then it's easy to create a great live stream mix using a post-fader bus. I even know churches who send their main mix to the live stream and then just add some room mics to it. Big churches that do that. I mean, that's just kind of, their room mix is that good that they're just like, we're just going to send that same thing to the live stream.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a good room mix. All right, next up, this is from Nico, Glad Tidings in Indiana. He's looking to get a clean mix of all the things and then at a consistent level. Clean and consistent. All right, we're pulling you up here. Let's see if I can figure out what to do to find a previous live stream. Past events, here we go. I'm going to watch this one again. It looks like it might be just the message. All right. Ooh, maybe we got some music going on at the end here. Sweet.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, you hear that saxophone?
Yeah. Love it. All right, so the first thing I noticed is that the acoustic guitar is kind of ruining the mix. And this happens sometimes, and I'm not blasting the acoustic guitar player. He's playing well. Just the sound of the acoustic guitar is kind of getting in the way of other things. And an easy way to fix that is to apply a low shelving filter to your acoustic guitar. Set that at about 900 hertz, and then starting at -3 dB, cut it out, and then just keep going down until the acoustic guitar sounds kind of bright. You don't want it to sound too crispy, but you just want to clean out those lows and those mids. That way you're leaving the room in the mix for your vocals and your guitars and things like that. All I want from the acoustic guitar really prominently is that upper end of the frequency spectrum. Got to make it sound like a glorified shaker, so to speak. Get some upper rhythmic section, and then leave the mid section to everything else.
Every acoustic guitarist loves to hear that they're in a glorified shaker.
Don't tell the acoustic I said that. I could use a little more drums in this mix. I can tell the vocals need a little more compression to them because they're kind of jumping in and out a little bit. The best compression starting point for vocals, set your ratio to 3, set attack, hold, and release to auto, and then set your threshold to where that gain reduction meter on the compressor settings screen is averaging about -6 dB. And that's a great starting point for your vocals to give you the control that you needed for them not to jump in and out of the mix.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in.
My wife texted me a second ago and told me to smile more. She tells me I don't smile enough on these live streams. So there's me smiling.
Dylan, are you okay today?
I'm all right.
All right.
Let's see if we got any comments here real quick. We got Chad Vegas with us. Hey, Chad. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's like head of visuals at Transformation Church. So that's cool to have him with us, doing some pretty awesome stuff over there.
Sweet. Great to have you.
Thanks for joining us, man.
All right. This next one's from Raphael in New Hope Christian Center in California. He's just looking for vocal EQ and general mixing of instruments. some help with those two things. So let's listen in.
What a powerful name. No more powerful name. And you have no equal. And now and forever, God, you reign. And yours is the kingdom. And yours is the glory. And yours is the name above all. Come on, let's sing. Death could not hold. And death could not hold you. The veil torn before you. You silenced the voice.
All right, so let's talk vocal EQ. She's just sounding a little thin. She sounds really clean, but there's not a lot of warmth to her voice. So check out what you're doing on vocal EQ in those low mids. I'm talking like 600 hertz and under. Adjust your low cut filter, and if you're cutting anything out in that range, bring it back up until that warmth comes back to her. Just make sure you don't bring too much of it back into where you lose the clarity. It's kind of a delicate balance there. She's a really good vocalist, though.
Ripping it.
And yours is the kingdom. And yours is the glory.
The bass guitar sounds, it's too loud in the mix, first of all, and it kind of seems like it's jumping in and out a little bit. Maybe there's some weird things going on with compression, so check your compressor there, make sure it's not going crazy. Maybe they have their own pedal going on at the bass guitar. Bass guitars will do that sometimes. So if that's the case, I would check their settings there so they can give you a more balanced sound. You have a really good piano player. I love how he's playing, but I don't like how the piano sounds. And I'm probably a little bit picky on this because I am a piano player, so I tend to be a little nitpicky on this. But I think the problem here is that he's sending you a mono signal. Pianos sound way better when they send you a stereo signal. I know it takes up 2 channels on your mixer, but it's totally worth it. And I don't know that's just because I'm a piano player that I prefer that. Have you heard the difference in like a mono piano versus a stereo piano? And do you care about the difference?
Doesn't it really come down to the patch you're using too? How many stereo effects you have on it?
I mean, it can. I like pianos to sound wide, like have some width to the sound. And if it's mono, there's no width there. It's just kind of like this direct.
Well, I guess it'd be trying to emulate if you had an acoustic piano with 2 mics on it.
Right.
You're going to hear one end of the frequency spectrum in one mic and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
That's what it'd be trying to emulate.
Something like that.
I
I want, even if there was no effects on the piano, to me it sounds better stereo. So try it and see if it makes a big difference in your mix. I think it will, because something has to add width to the live stream mix. Because your vocals are mono, you can't make them stereo. You don't have 2 mouths. You only have one. Guitars, same story. Bass guitar, same story. But the piano can have a stereo mix into where it really, because there's so many, like if you visualize an actual grand piano, there's like 88 strings times 3, whatever that math is. And you could have mics all the way around there to add this, to really shape the sound over a stereo spectrum. Anyway, make your piano, I could just keep talking about this, but make your piano stereo. I think it's going to make a big difference for you. Warm up your vocal, make your piano stereo. Turn the bass guitar down and just kind of look at the compression on the bass guitar. Do those 3 things. You already have a great thing going. That's just going to take it to the next level.
To another level.
Thanks for sending that in. I appreciate it. What do we got up next? Eli from Gethsemane Church in Rhode Island. Want to keep the big energy in the room and trying to get clean sound in live. Well, let's just take a listen here.
Coloca a sua mão no coração e diga pra ele.
I can tell that worship leader works than vocals. It sounds big and there's energy there. So good job with that. And I can see the clarity issue that you're having, and I'm trying to diagnose the best way to fix that. I'm kind of wondering if maybe there's just too much of the room mic in the mix, and if just dialing that back would fix the problem. I would look at that first, because I hear a lot of ambience like on that lead vocal, and I think it's your room mic. So bring that down in the mix. I also noticed that the snare drum was causing the limiter to suck in. So you can bring the volume of the snare drum down in the live stream mix to solve that problem, or just make your limiter less aggressive by adjusting the threshold on the limiter. I think you could probably clean up those low mids, like around 600 hertz on those vocals a little bit. They're just sounding a little too mid heavy. They don't need a lot of adjustment there, but I'd go through and kind of carve a little bit of that out of the vocals.
Dang, dude, listen to those vocals. They're like this.
Yep. It's laying it. That's good stuff. Thanks for sending that in. What a blessing. Any other questions coming up there?
How would you take a stereo mix from the keyboard? Use 2 DI boxes? Yeah, either 2 mono or 1 stereo.
Yep, they sell stereo DI boxes, but you don't have to buy a stereo. You can just use another mono.
We recommend radial direct boxes.
Yes.
They're great. A little more expensive.
Worth it, though.
Yeah, because we used to use live wire direct boxes, I think. Probably half the price of radial, but they crap out. And I don't think we've had a radial direct box crap out on us yet.
Nope.
Like, they just keep going. So highly recommend you invest a little bit unless you just want to keep buying them. You'll probably spend the same amount of money over a longer period of time.
Yep. And listen, after you do that, after you make that keyboard stereo, email me to tell me if it makes a difference for you or not. Like if you are as crazy about that as I am. I'm just excited thinking about it.
You know, I was going to tell you a second ago, it's actually a new thing that electric guitars are being run in stereo, I believe, because like the modelers have a lot of stereo effects on them.
Yeah.
So they'll run stereo out of those.
Everything sounds better in stereo.
I think you should just start hard panning things left and right.
Don't do that.
That would sound great.
Do not take Dylan's advice.
Since Cade likes stereo so much, put half your band on the left side, half of them on the right.
Especially the lead vocal. Make sure they're all the way on one side.
Yeah,
We're kidding, by the way. Don't do that. All right, so this next one's from Dan. He's from Hillside Community Church in Cedar Rapids. He says his online sound is bad. Well, let's help you sort that out.
On your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me.
Well, speaking of hard panning, we've got that snare drum all the way on the left.
Yep, bring your snare back to the center. It's panned all the way to the
Who
left.
brings our chaos back into order?
That snare could use a mic underneath it too.
Yeah.
The King of Glory, the King of Glory.
I'm really just hearing several EQ issues kind of across the board. Vocal needs to be EQ'd better. Drums need to be EQ'd. So that's what you're looking for to make your stream better. It's also going to make your room better. A little too much to get into in this live stream review, but I do recommend that you go jump into our courses because they'll walk you through step by step, not just EQ, but compression and then adding reverb to your mix as well. You just kind of like need to start from the ground up and you can fix all those problems that you're hearing.
And what's the deal we got going on right now on that?
And we do have a deal going on right now where you can get, we're calling it all access for life. You get access to all of our courses, all of our cheat sheets, the ones that currently exist and the ones that come out in the future. You'll get access to those as well at no additional charge. And this is $495 for this offer. It's just a one-time fee. But if you bought all these courses, Individually, it'd be $1,610. So you're saving over $1,000 with this deal. Plus, right, because you get all the future courses as well. You also get access for up to 5 team members with the same price, $495. There's a link in the description where you get all access for life. Keep this in mind. It expires on Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. This offer goes away. So if you want to jump in on that, jump in on it before Sunday. Yeah.
Which you can still do it after Sunday. You just don't get this specific deal.
Right.
It's what for a year? What is the normal?
Normally, you'd have to do a subscription, which is $328 per year.
But you'd rather just get all the courses for a one-time fee. That's a pretty good deal.
$495. That's it. And then you'll never have to. People like that one time. Forget the subscription. I mean, what's up with this Netflix stuff, right?
If you love the simplicity of all the tips that we're giving here, you're going to love the courses. If you want to make things complicated, we're probably not the people for you. Our bread and butter is making this simple for people that don't have a ton of time to put into this. So it'll give you everything you need, no fluff added onto it. There's other courses you can go buy if you want to make things really complicated. That's okay if you do.
Yep. We call our training a 10-year shortcut to great sound. It's going to take about 2 hours of your time to go through our training. We learned it the hard way over 10 years of trial and error, but we packaged it together in these courses. You go through them. It'll take you about 2 hours to get through them, and you're going to be surprised at the results. It'll be incredible. And we already have over 10,000 students in our courses that are having great success. So we just love for you to jump in and join the community.
I think I'd say the thing I love the most about our training is that it's going to help you get your entire team on the same page. If you have multiple people mixing, then you probably know that it's a challenge to get everybody mixing the same because everybody has different amounts of information. Everybody has different opinions on how it should sound. And our training is going to help you get your whole team on the same page. And that's a beautiful thing. So you'll have some consistency.
And one thing I forgot to mention is we're throwing in 1 year of our individualized support with this $495 offer. So that gets you access to our private Slack group, which is kind of like a chat place to go ask your questions and really get them answered within an hour or two from either us or somebody in the community. You can schedule one-on-one coaching calls with us as many times as you need over that year period of time. You also get your live stream reviewed as many times as you want to. Today is kind of a special day. We're doing live stream reviews for anybody who submits them, but normally this is something that we only do for our all access subscribers, the people who are in our online courses. So yeah, go take advantage of that offer. It expires in 2 days on Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time, and a link is in the description where you can access that. This is not like on the front of our website. Like you can't go find it anywhere else. You have to use that link in the description.
Yep. All right, let's see if we can get through the rest of these.
All right, this is from John from Shiloh Church in California. All right, let's see.
We praise you in Jesus' name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
We lift up holy hands and we worship you, Lord. We come into this house. We lift up holy hands and worship you. Christ.
Are you hearing that limiter hit on the drums? Is that what I'm hearing?
Come into this
Well, now there's no
house.
drums, of course.
Let there be freedom.
I don't hear the limiter maxing out, so did you hear it that time?
I hear something. I guess I just don't know what I'm hearing.
You hear the kick drum being wild. It's very like,
Does this need some compression?
nope. It needs like a pillow in the kick drum. So remember how we had that problem with our kick drum?
Oh,
like
yeah.
they hit the kick, it's like,
And then Matt from Drum World came and said, "What are you guys doing?"
yeah. So it sounds like this now. Every time they hit the kick drum, it should be like, boom, boom, boom. It should be a real clean, short sound. And so how you fix that is you put dampening inside the kick drum itself. So some people use a pillow. There's stuff that you can buy to put in there, just anything that would dampen the sound and make it shorter.
They might also need to move the mic further into it.
Yep, you can try that too.
That was our other problem. We had it too far out of the porthole.
Yep.
So it was getting too much air movement, I guess.
So give that kick drum some love. Really spend some time getting that sounding right at the source. Another thing you can do to shorten the sound of a kick drum is add a gate to the kick drum. Be careful with that. I do use a gate on our kick drum too, but you could have it to where the gate closes like you change the release time to determine how short or long that kick drum is.
He said we have a pillow in there, LOL. We have a mic in and out.
Okay. Well, let's just add some gating then. Maybe that'll solve the issue.
I'm glad he was here to tell us that.
I would like to hear like each of the mics by themselves. You may find out that you don't need both, but one of them sounds better than the other. So I would try that, like one at a time. Which kick drum sounds the cleanest? Which kick drum mic sounds the cleanest? Maybe you don't need to be mixing them both together. I imagine it's the one that's outside of the porthole that's causing the issue. There could be air coming out of the porthole and onto that mic that's causing the noise. So figure out what that is. I mean, we gave you some options to try. You can't, obviously can't, you don't need to put another pillow in the mic. So try gating and then figure out which mic sounds the best.
He gave us a thumbs up.
I hear a time alignment issue on your crowd mics. And the reason I can notice it is because somebody's over there clapping by one of them. So I hear the clapping and it's a little bit off. Maybe that person was just clapping.
That's what I was about to say. Maybe they were just off.
That's a possibility. But you do want to make sure that your audience mics are time aligned. And that's all based on how far away they are from your main speakers. And there's some tests that you can do. And there's even a thing called a balloon trick that you can do to make sure that everything's in alignment. We did a video on that.
With Chris Trowbridge.
So go search our YouTube channel for, what did we title that video? Do you remember?
I don't know, but it's not very far down.
It's not very, yep. I think the thumbnail is me with a balloon, popping a balloon. So that's the one we're talking about. It'll show you how to get those mics in alignment, which will probably solve some other issues too that you're hearing.
We can do it side to side. Dance like the weight has been lifted.
She said do a side to side.
Neighbor to move down a little.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if the room mics are causing the kick drum issue too.
Could be.
Make sure there is a low cut on your room mics. You don't want low energy from your room mics going into the live stream mix. So I would even set that pretty high, maybe 200 hertz.
He said yes, there's compression. Oh wait, no, that's the answer to another question. Sorry.
Yeah, is there a low cut filter on your room mic? That'd be my next question. If not, you should add one. I just realized I forgot to tell you, your mix is actually really good. You're doing a great thing, man. Yep, just helping you take it to the next level. Do those things. And then go from there. Take it to the next level. All right, thanks for sending that in, John. I appreciate it. David's up next from Zion Ministries. Pulling it up now. We're going to take a listen after we get past this ad.
Lovely. Make sure you full screen this one.
Oh, did I not do that last time?
Nope.
My apologies. All right, so I don't really have a mixing tip for you here, but I have more of a tip for you to give the singers. Your male singer is singing into the mic like he should. He's doing a great job. So use him as your example, and then have the female here that's in the middle. She's way too far away from the microphone. She needs to get up on it, no further than an inch from the microphone. And what's happening is from her being too far away, her voice just sounds too thin and trilly. But if she gets up on that mic, you're going to get the depth back to her voice. So make that change. And I haven't heard this other female on the left sing yet. So if she does that same thing, make sure she holds her mic close.
Could use some reverb on the vocals.
Yeah, add some reverb to the vocals. We'll fast forward a little bit here.
Hallelujah. మనకి మనం చిక్కమండి మనని మనం మిస్ అయిపోతాం అసలు మనమేంటో మనకి ఇరుకు మార్గంలో ప్రవేశింప పోరాడుడి. హల్లెలూయా. ఇరుకు ద్వారమున ప్రవేశింప పోరాడుడి.
All right.
యేసులో
Piano
సహోదరుడు
sounds good.
దేహము దేవుని ఆలయము, నీ దేవుడు మలచిన మందిరము.
Yep. I think that's the main thing. Get the female using her mic correctly and then add some reverb to those vocals. Your mix will go next level. Thanks for sending that in. It's good stuff. Joshua is up next from Ghana. Kindly use the latest stream. Let me find it here. Going to live here. Evangelism service, I suppose, is where we want to be.
Hey, I will lift up your name. You are wonderful. I will lift up your name. Praise, praise Jehovah. You are wonderful. I will lift up your name. Praise Jehovah. You are wonderful. I will lift up your name. Oh, praise Jehovah. You are wonderful. I will lift up your name. You go there.
All right, so your lead vocal there, he's sounding a little too thick. He needs some clarity added to him, so make sure you have a low cut filter on him. Set that at about 180 hertz. And if you still need some clarity for him, you could add a low shelving filter at about 800 hertz and then bring that down about 2 or 3 dB, and you'll notice that he becomes very clear. You just want to make sure that you don't thin him out too much, because you still want him to have that warmth to his voice. It's just a little too heavy right now. And then I'd say your drums are good in the mix, but your other instruments are kind of hidden in the mix. So vocals and instruments, bring those closer together, because right now there's quite a bit of separation volume-wise between the two. Any thoughts, Dylan?
Oh, that's a nice sound. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for sending that in. Appreciate it. Up next is Julian from Glacia. I'm just not going to go for that one, but this is from Argentina, and she sent in her comments in Espanol. Unfortunately, I don't speak Espanol, although I'd like to. But let's take a listen. You have a really good thing going.
For sure. Sounds good.
Sounds good. I would just add some reverb to those vocals. You'd probably be golden.
It's a little flat sounding. It's the only thing I really noticed. Use a little like of those brilliance frequencies.
Yeah.
Not too much to where it starts sounding too bright though. Just need some brightness, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Kick drum might be a little too heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty boomy. Those drums sound good though overall.
Yeah. You can probably use that same tip that we gave 2 or 3 streams ago. Adding a gate to your kick drum, if you already have one on there, shortening the release time would make that kick drum sound cleaner. Yeah, it sounded a little bit dull, like Dylan talked about. And sometimes that's because the band isn't giving you those frequencies that you want up here. So if there's something in there, like maybe backing tracks or something where you can fill in that upper end of the frequency spectrum, you can use it for that. Or you could also ask the band, like, can somebody kind of break off and fill in that frequency spectrum for me? I need somebody up here in the high range. Great job, though.
Great job.
Great job. Great job. All right, Greg from Redemption Church. And it looks like Alabama. Here we go. Here we go. Looks like he was wanting some visual tips too, because he wants better color matching, he says. All right, so the main thing you need to work on is just your balance in your mix here. We need more bass guitar, quite a bit. I'm hardly hearing him. Acoustic guitar needs to come down quite a bit. Lead vocal needs to come up and background vocal down, because right now the background vocal is louder than the lead vocal.
God, above it all, hallelujah, God, unshakable, hallelujah.
Got a little too much of that plate reverb on the lead vocal. Dial that back a little bit. It's making him sound kind of like he's in a cave of sorts. Yeah, so just kind of some balancing issues there. I would recommend spending some time listening to these songs that they're singing, and listen to like the recorded track of the actual artist doing it, and listen it through and say, what's the electric guitar doing it, and how's it mixed in the mix? And same thing for the piano, and go through it each time and just keep yourself hyper focused on one specific thing throughout the whole song, and you're going to train your ear to hear what needs to happen for these songs. That can be hard to do when you're not a musician, but I believe if you take the time to do this, listen to these songs over and over again, focusing yourself on one specific element of the song, you'll train your ear to hear the details of the song. Dylan, any comments on visuals?
He said color matching is what he wanted to know about.
Yeah.
They're really not that far off. There's a little bit of adjusting that can be made. The best way to do that is going to be starting at the source. So go into your camera's white balance setting and get everything as close as you can in camera. And then if you need to do any further adjusting in the software you're using for live streaming, you can do that. But easiest way to do that, hopefully your camera has a Kelvin white balance setting, so you can go and adjust that by Kelvin. So adjust your cameras until they're all visually looking at all of them really close. If they have a tint adjustment within that Kelvin setting, adjust that as well so that there's not too much green or too much magenta on one. You can put a piece of white paper in every shot to help you to get that closer. So you want to make that piece of paper white. And I did notice that your backlighting was casting some color onto people's faces, mostly the gal with the guitar. So when you have that going on, that's going to be really hard to white balance your camera. So maybe turn those off, maybe adjust them to where you're not getting so much of that color wash on the faces, because you're never going to get it perfect if that's what you're going off of. So I can see now in this shot that we're looking at, it got really warm all of a sudden. So I'm wondering if there's any color light that's being cast on them, or if what would make the lighting just get warmer all of a sudden, though?
I don't know.
Maybe it's just that there's a lack of that bluish purple lighting. So yeah, that shot with the person talking, I don't know if that was your pastor or not, that was a little too warm. Like this shot is a little bit warm. You can look in the skin tones. So I think you're going to have to do some adjusting with all of your colored lighting on the stage to make sure you don't have colored lighting hitting the front of people's faces, and then go in and fine tune white balance on each camera. I noticed a little bit of difference in the exposure and contrast from camera to camera. So I would adjust that a little bit too to make sure they're all similar. I don't even know if you have all same cameras, because that makes it even more tricky if you have different brands of cameras, because they render colors differently. And so it's just going to take some fine tuning. It's a little tedious, but go in there, fine tune the inside of the camera as much as you can, and then go and do any extra fine tuning that you need to inside of your live stream software. Email me if you have any further questions about that. DILLON@collaborateworship.com.
Sweet. Thank you for sending that in. I think we have time for maybe one or two more. We're going to wrap this up here in 5 minutes. This next one's from Brian from Calvary Chapel, Madison, in Madison, Wisconsin. Just looking for consistency. By the way, thanks for all the kind words in the comments. Everybody's saying they're really enjoying this and finding this helpful. And I'm glad to hear it.
We might get a little extra noise from our signal there now. I had to plug my computer in. Getting problems with noise while my computer's plugged into power, so we'll see how that sounds.
Full of compassion. Oh God, you're faithful and true. Oh God, you are my God, and I love you. Let's tell 'em.
All right, let's talk about those drums first. I'm hearing a lot of cymbals, but not a lot of the other stuff. So it looks like you're using an electronic kit. You can make those adjustments on the drum unit itself. So spend some time with your drummer getting the balance right between all the different drums in your drum kit. Bring the cymbals down, bring the snare up, bring the kick up. Cymbals are way too loud compared to everything else, so you're going to be making a pretty huge adjustment on that. The prominent pieces of a drum mix are the kick drum and the snare drum, so that's what you need to focus on. Make sure the kick and the snare are right and they're punchy, and there's because a lot of energy comes from that. So make sure that's right in the mix. Then you're going to pair that with your bass guitar. I'm not hearing very much bass guitar, so that needs to come up quite a bit as well in this mix.
We love you, Lord. Tell 'em.
And then I see we have two acoustic guitars, and they're a little bit heavy in the mix. One of them or maybe both of them, so I'd bring the acoustic guitars down. And since you have two, I would pan them a little bit. Pan one a little bit to the left, the other a little bit to the right, in conjunction with how you see them visually. So the guy would be panned a little bit to the left, the girl a little to the right. I'm talking about their guitars. That'll widen out your mix a little bit. And I'm going to leave it at that, because those few things are going to make a huge difference in your mix. Primarily getting the drums balanced out right, going to make a big difference. The cymbals are kind of crashing the mix. That was a good one.
Good pun.
Okay. You didn't laugh as hard as I thought you would. All right, this next one's from John. This will be our last one. John from AOA Church in Riverside, California. Oh. Did I have that backwards? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Because let me tell you this, we can jump and shout and scream and run, but there's nothing like crying out to the King. There's nothing like surrendering to Him. Una vez más, y ningún principado, ni las potestades, ni armas forjadas. ¿Quién podrá? Dígalo, no ha prevalecido, ha caído. El infierno has vencido, Señor. ¿Quién podrá? ¿Quién podrá? Una vez más, ningún principado, ni las potestades, ni armas forjadas. ¿Quién podrá con nuestro Señor?
Man, overall, you have a really good thing going here. Talk about energy going on in that room. Man, that's good stuff.
Sounds good.
It does sound good.
I think one thing is I'd like to hear a little bit more drums, just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
I don't hear very much cymbal at all. I notice they have digital cymbals, but it looks like an acoustic kit, unless it's one of the electric kits that looks acoustic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to hear more drums as well.
I love how clear that guitar lead line is.
Yep. Lead vocal sounds good. I was hearing some of the background vocals were sounding a little bit too mid-heavy. I would go through those and see who kind of needs to be cleaned up a little bit. And I think the The reverb might be a little too aggressive on the vocals. They were sounding a little bit too ambient to me, and I couldn't distinguish whether it was because there was too much reverb or if the timing of the reverb was wrong. So I would test both. I would start with the timing. How long is the decay time on your reverb? Make some adjustments there and see if you can get a better sound from your reverb by adjusting the decay time. And if that doesn't do the trick, maybe just a little bit less reverb on all of the vocals, because they kind of sounded like they were in a different space than everything else. And so yeah, a little less reverb on them, maybe some more reverb on the instruments to make them all sound like they're in the same place.
Word.
Awesome. But really good job. Really good job. I think that's a wrap for today. We got through 23 different live streams in an hour and a half.
Sheesh, look at us go.
That's awesome. So just to wrap things up, I want to remind you one more time that we have a special offer going on right now where you get all of our courses, all of our cheat sheets, the ones that we have now and the ones that come out in the future. You get it all for a one-time payment of $495. Currently, this would normally cost you $1,610, so you're saving over $1,000. We're also throwing in 1 year of individualized support where you can schedule one-on-one coaching calls with us, and you also get access to our private chat group to get your questions answered quickly, and you get live stream reviews as many times as you want over that year period of time. You get access for up to 5 team members with this all access for life plan. So just $495 for access for you and up to 5 team members. That's incredible. That's just like $100 each.
Also tomorrow, one more live stream tomorrow. We're going to be up at our church hanging out. I think Kate is going to mix some of our tracks from a previous Sunday.
That'll be fun.
So you can see how crappy Kate's mix sounds and you can comment on
Yeah, you can tell me how to get better. I love it.
No, it'll be fun. We'll hang out. If you have any questions about any of our setup at church after watching our tech tours, you want to know any more about it, we'll be answering questions like that. Be a good time. It's kind of a celebration for the end of our special deal that's going on. It ends on Sunday, but we're going to stream tomorrow because we're a little busy on Sunday, if you can imagine. But yeah, I think that's it.
Sounds good. Yep. So link is in the description on how to get all access for life for $495. Again, that expires this Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. You can't find this on the website. You can only use the link in the description, so keep that in mind. To everybody who submitted their live stream, thank you, because I know it takes a little bit of vulnerability to do that. I appreciate you sending those in. I hope that you found all my feedback constructive and helpful, and also the feedback in the comments. We're just here to help take you to the next level. We're not here to criticize or anything like that, because the reality is we are all on a journey to the next thing. We're all getting better in our live stream sound and our room mix, and we're just here to help each other out.
And thanks so much for spending this time with us this past hour and a half if you were here the whole time, or even if you weren't.
Yep. Thank you so much. So we'll be leaving the office shortly after this. Dylan will get home to his wife and his dog, and I'll get home to my wife and my 5 kids, which a lot of people don't know that. I have 5 kiddos, ages 8 and under, and I love it. So to all you parents out there with small kids, hats off to you. Make the most of it, because from what I hear, the time goes by quickly.
Well, how many farm animals on top of that?
Let's see. We got 5 sheep, 2 cows, 2 horses, 11 chickens. So lots to take care of.
How many chickens did there used to be?
There used to be 20 chickens a year ago.
R.I.P. 9 of those chickens.
We are new farmers, so we are learning a lot.
Hey, to be fair, some of them weren't your fault. It was the neighbor's dog. So
I don't know. That still could be my fault. I guess I wasn't protecting them good enough.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Hey, y'all have a great night. Good morning, wherever you are. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.